So, what is ideal wealth? In my opinion, you should not be apprehensive about what would happen to your wealth if you lock your home. And if at all you lose that also, you should not be worried about how am I going to live. That is the ideal wealth.
I would interpret it as
பயம் இருக்கக்கூடாது, கவலை இருக்கக்கூடாது.
கவலை இருக்கக்கூடாது.
இது என்ன ஆயிடுமோங்கிற பயம், இது இல்லைன்னா நான் என்ன ஆவேணுங்கிற கவலை, இது ரெண்டும் இருக்கக்கூடாது. அதான் ஐடியல் வெல்த்.
That's a very, very, very profound explanation you gave. My inference there is an old Ilayaraja song, which is Maratha Vechavan Thanni Uttuvam. So you have a life and just live it with the acceptance of.
சொத்து பத்து ஒண்ணு எனக்கு இல்ல, நான் சொகத்துக்கு ஒண்ணும் குறவில்ல. சொத்து பத்து ஒண்ணு எனக்கு இல்ல, ஆனா சொகத்துக்கு ஒண்ணும் குறவில்ல. என்ன பத்த போட்டு வறுத்தெடுத்தா பழகி போச்சு வலி இல்ல. பத்த போட்டு வறுத்தெடுத்தா பழகி போச்சு வலி இல்ல. மொத்த உசுரையின் காதுல சின்ன மூட்டை கட்டி போட்டுட்டேன். என் மொத்த உசுரையின் காலில சின்ன மூட்டை கட்டி போட்டுட்டு ஒரு சத்தம் இல்லாம கிடக்குறேன், சாலை இல்லாம நடக்கிறேன். செத்து விழுகிற கணம் வரும் முன்னர் முத்தம் கிடைக்கணும் முழுசு நம்புறேன். அவ்வளவுதான்.
Thank you. I think it came very timely and at the most appropriate. We don't need to say anything more. I think the verse says it all. So that brings me to the you know, earlier you talked about your identity and we discussed this over coffee also the other day. Why do you believe that the identity of poet is the only identity you would like to retain among the many talents that you have? Many people would like to proclaim after their name a list of degrees that they have, but you are saying I'll drop all of that and the only thing is poet. Why is there that connection?
There are two things. One is, if you are a seeker on the spiritual path, you must consciously unsheath yourself. You must drop all these identities. Otherwise, you cannot be free. Number one. The other things, all these things which you mentioned, they are talents. They are acquired. Whatever you acquire demands maintenance. and whatever you acquire has a date of expiry. But a boon doesn't expire.
Definitely.
Okay. Why boon? Even if it is arms, it doesn't expire. It becomes a part of my being. Poetry to me is the boon which Parasakti bestowed upon me at birth. It will never leave me. So when the body burns in the fire, no, till then I will be a poet. Tamil Kavi. The original identity.
And that's the only one that you want.
One more thing, another part to this question is, who is a poet? The poet is closer to the seer, Rishi. My master puts it very nicely. God is writing the story of creation, and the poet is keeping a hand on his shoulder and bearing over. That is the class of the poet. You forget his body of work, what he sang, what he wrote, what he saw, what he experiences, that can never be conveyed in words.
For all your profundity, something that strikes me now, for all your profundity, are you all enjoying the conversation? Isn't it simple and profound at the same time? For all your profundity, don't you think you have not got what you deserve in terms of recognition and fame? Has the thought ever crossed your mind that you probably deserve a lot more by way of reach, by way of taking your message forward on one side and by way of recognition on the other side? In the real world, people grapple with these issues. How do you deal with
your question? My sincere feeling is, God has been too kind on me. People have been very charitable towards me. So there is no regret. Another thing I have realized is, if you have this craving for recognition, you are cramped. You are cramped. It's a recognition. This craving for recognition is a sure trap. It's a killer of a trap on the path of spiritual journey. Because you should submit yourself totally to her. So whatever I get, it's what my master wants me to get. Whatever I don't get, it is his sankalpa. You call it master or parasakti, it is the same to me. So where is the, and I'm able to think of divinity. I'm able to sing its glory. Can that be a better recognition? Can that be a better recognition? And I sing before people. They're happy. Something touches them. I'll tell you. One more minute I will take.
Please, please.
In a restaurant, at a restaurant in Bangalore, my colleague and I, we were talking. Tough days in the Hindu. But that colleague said to sing something for me. I'm feeling very tired, this and that. So I said something. From behind somebody said, "Aha, Sabash, Malay." We don't know who it was. And that gentleman came around. You know what he said, Davis? "Sorry, it was so nice," he said. he was apologizing for intruding into our conversation. "Sorry, immediately I said, "Varanamayiram kettadillai, pudu vanna pattadegal thevayillai, தாரக மந்திரம் கேட்டது போல் தம்பி தலையசைப்பது போதுமடா." ஊரறிய புகழ் தேவையில்லை, குயில் ஒன்று குடித்தனம் செல்வதில்லை, வேரை பிடித்தது போல தம்பி குரல் விக்கி திணறுதல் போதுமடா. நாச்சந்தியில் சிலை நட்டு வைத்து பல நாட்களுக்கு ஒரு முறை மாலையிட்டு இந்த ஊர்க்குருவி காகம் எச்சமிட்டு கடல் உப்பு கருப்பினில் சிக்குவேனோ. மார்பு துடிக்குது வார்த்தையிலே, எந்த மண்டை சுடலுது போதையிலே என்று வார்த்தை தடுமாறி தம்பி விழி 7 வண்ணம் பளிச்சிடல் போதுமடா. அன்றி வாரணமாயிரம் கேட்டதில்லை, புது வண்ணப்பட்டாடைகள் தேவையில்லை, தாரக மந்திரம் கேட்டது போ தம்பி தலையசைப்பது போதுமடா. எங்க டெய்ஸ் எல்லாமே மாரியம்மன் கோயில் இல்ல ஒரு பீச்சில் சுண்டல்காரன் கூட இல்லை எங்கேயாவது மரத்தடியில் ஒரு ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் வீட்டில் இல்லை எங்கள் வீட்டில், அவ்வளோதான். அதோட பெரிய மேடை என்ன?
You answered my next question actually through the song, which is, what is your idea of happiness? And that was my next question. What would make you completely deliriously happy? And in a way you answered it, but you still want to give us another perspective?
If I continue to be loving, unconditionally I am happy. If I am honest, I am happy. If I am happy about others' happiness, I am happy. If I can contribute something, a little, a pinch, I am happy. See, there are only 2 routes to happiness. One thing is, declare that you will be happy. Come what may, go what must. That should be there. Happiness is not a quality. It is a state which you attain through sankalpa. Sankalpa is a decided thought. Through sankalpa, you can be happy. The other way is to be of some service to others and not noticing it at all. That makes you happy. Like the lukewarm water I made for my little princess. She is not aware of it. And I'm so happy. I felt so happy and grateful to my wife for that.
So that is a big message there. He's saying that the word deserve is what many of us cling on to. That I deserve this. Now deservance or seeking deservance can often make you unhappy because you're not going to get everything that you think you deserve. But the word deserve is impossible to construct without the word serve in it. And that's what he's referring to. When you give yourself unconditionally, offer yourself, and in his parlance it is to Parasakti. His offering is to a higher energy, to Parasakti. And in our parlance it can be whatever. But the bottom line is be of use, be serving, and that gives you happiness.
Keep working.
Keep the joy of work.
Joy of work.
The joy of work. So one last question, and then we'll go to the audience for their questions. The last question is, this is happiness as we all should know it, experience it, and live it. But there are many signals that come and interfere. The way society functions, the way people understand or misunderstand and interpret us, the pulls and pressures of everyday living, the economic side of life, and all of that. How how do you, Ramanan, live a life where these signals don't interfere with you? And what do you do should they interfere?
See, very, very
When these frequencies
yeah,
interfere.
it is there. No? It is, there is an inner life, there is an outer life. But there is only one person who is living both.
Exactly.
So he cannot be a different person. Maybe he can respond differently. See, all that you have to do is anchor well within yourself. It is something like getting hooked onto that tampura shruti side. Then sing the language of this world. There won't be any apostle. That tampura is important. If you think of the divinity only when you sit for meditation or do for puja, whatever, you should be able to do it in a Sunday among the Monday. And then only it stays. So another thing is all these things which are happening, they are only peripheral. They should not affect. I'll tell you an example which my master used to say. Between you and me there is space, is it not so? Yeah. There are mosquitoes. Yes, sir. Do you see any dent in the space caused by mosquitoes? Treat them like that. So pulls and pressures are there. When you ask for a change of your circumstances, you are investing in failure. When you seek a way to grow taller than your circumstances, you are evolving. So.
Beautiful. We were just told
Correct.
what the scriptures talk about, what the Gita talks about, be in this world and yet be above it. What the Bible talks about, be in the world but not of it. And he just gave the very practical, very reasonable perspective for that, so that it doesn't remain just a scriptural perspective and can be actualized. Thank you so much. Fantastic. I think we're going great on time. I have time for